Capital fans, what's going on, man? Oklahoma's worst angler, what's going on, dude? When's that video coming out? As you guys can see, we're still waiting on somebody over here. Brian, what's going on, dude? Robert, how's it going? Mark from Mr. Washington, Missouri. Mark, you guys are probably getting ready to hit some good ones. Bite's finally turning on. Kevin, what's going on, dude? Off today and thought I'd hang out with you. Hey, that's awesome. Nothing wrong with that. What's going on, Carl? Mr. Hank, how's it going, dude? See, you're catching the whoppers of Florida down there. Sitting at work watching. Hey, nothing wrong with that, man. Oklahoma's worst singer says this weekend, hopefully. Dude, I look forward to it, man. I've got a good video dropping Wednesday, so it ought to be pretty interesting to see how that turns out. So Mr. Dudley, how's it going? Like I said, we'll wait a few minutes here. Gabe's on his way up, so he come home a little bit late. We do have this guy right here, this guy. It's going to be Brad Hawthorne. He will be joining us here shortly, probably about 10 minutes or so. He's actually another Lake Mille Lacs guide, but we're going to go over ice fishing with him. So I'm real interested in hearing what he's got to say about ice fishing. I told him that, where I live, we're kind of right on that line we don't completely freeze over most of the time. About every 10 years, we'll get it to where it freezes over enough that you can actually do a little ice fishing. So most of the people around here just aren't real knowledgeable of ice fishing. So I'd really like to hear his take on that stuff. Don't worry, Alex. Like I said, it's dropping Wednesday morning. I've already got it set up for 6 o'clock. So ask Mr. Gabe about his spinner bait. Yeah, I tell you what, Ron, I'll wait till he gets here to explain how well that worked this weekend. So, what's up, Chris? Good to have you in here. And Ron, I don't know if Gabe told you or not, but I hit my PB. Well, actually, I went above my PB yesterday. So I've got a video dropping Wednesday that's got it all on there. So I'll be anxious to see how that does. So, Ethan, what's going on, man? Cowboys fan? No, not really. Not too much. Kind of had a little bit of a falling out, but yeah, it's like I said, we'll wait till we get a few more guys in here. Like I said, we'll wait till Gabe shows up. We'll get Brad on here. He should be here just about any time. So, anybody else getting out doing any fishing? I know the northern guys are probably still a few weeks behind us, but I know here it's been this weekend was really, really good weather. We had I think it was about 55 Saturday, and then Sunday we hit like 65. And those fish really, really started pushing up. They were still out deep, but they were hanging around that about where I was fishing, about that 12 to 14 foot mark on real steep banks. Like I was throwing, some really light stuff, just letting it real slow fall. I mean, they were tearing it up quite a bit, so it worked out really well. What's up, Bill? I know there was a couple tournaments that went on this week. I heard they were catching quite a bit, so I'll make sure to see what everybody else has got going on. Let's see here. This is where we'll be fishing this weekend. Bill, I've got a tournament this weekend over at Lake of Egypt. So that lake's been doing pretty decent. It's a power plant lake, so it's a little farther ahead than most lakes around me. But I would imagine those fish are probably just coming up to the banks over there. I would say they've been there for probably a week and a half, too, maybe. But I hope we do good. But the weather for right now does not look very promising. I think it's Friday is supposed to have a cold front hit, and then Saturday I think the high is like 44. So it'll be a chilly day, but I mean that lake for the most part treats me pretty good. It's a good lake to fish. It's got a lot of good quality fish in it. So last year that's where I hit my PB last year was a 7.2. So I'm curious to see what I get over this year. I hope it goes good. Robert says went to Cedar Lake Saturday, didn't do no good. Caught a 12-inch. Yeah, we'll wait till Gabe gets here. We'll talk about Cedar a little bit more. He fished a tournament over there. I think it was actually Sunday was when he fished. Steve says recovering from the classic. Oh, that's awesome, dude. I'm glad you went. I would really like to went down there. It seemed like everybody had a really good time down there. It looked like it was crowded. So I fished my first tournament Saturday. Every fish we caught was in 5 foot. Yeah. See, I bet you guys are about probably 2-3 weeks ahead of us, at least 2 weeks. Because you're probably I'm guessing you're probably 3 to 4 hours, about 3 to 4 hours south of us. So that'd be about right. Ethan says, yeah, water temps were 48 to 51 up at Pyramid State Park. Caught 3, lost 2. It's starting to get good. Yeah, Ethan, it is. It's really starting to get good. I know a lot of the bigger fish are starting to move up. Here locally they are, but I mean they were chomping Sunday. I didn't catch a whole lot, but the ones I caught were pretty good quality, so I won't complain there. So Bill says always wanted to fish Egypt. Need to get a little license. Bill, that's a really good lake to fish. It really is. That's one of those lakes. You'll go over there and you'll catch quite a few fish, and they're usually pretty good quality fish. The one thing I will warn you about fishing over there, number one lake rule, you cannot fish within 10 feet of a dock. And once you get over there to the lake, you're going to be heartbroken if you like to flip around docks and stuff. It has got some great docks to fish around, but you can't fish within 10 feet of them. And I'm telling you, when you're over there and you're fishing, if you get close to somebody's dock, don't be surprised if they're staring you down at the back door. It's happened many, many times. Underwater, how's it going, dude? Yeah, I think the true pre-spawn is this week or next. Yeah, it probably is. Like I said, our fish, they're still staying deep in the evenings and stuff like that. Now, when you get those good sunny days, you'll start seeing them come up a little bit shallow. The ones where I was fishing, where I was actually catching, it was falling down probably about that 7 or 8 foot mark, and that's about where they were. They were hanging on a bluff wall, and that's about where they were every time. I did catch one that was in about 4 foot of water, but where he was at, or where she was at, I guess I should say, there's a beaver dam right there, but the one side, I guess that beaver has that hole walled out so much, it's pretty deep right there. So I'm guessing that's where she was sitting down underneath all that brush and everything else, and she was down in that hole. So it might have been 6 foot there, but Robert says he loves fishing Egypt. Yeah, it's a great lake to fish. It really is. Cedar's another good one to fish. If you like fishing grassy lakes, Cedar's one of the best ones around, I think, for grass. Kincaid was another really good one. I know they're starting to spray some of the grass over there, just to kind of keep it down for boat traffic and stuff like that. You can still find it out on the main lake and stuff like that. It's on all the points and everything. But, the shallower stuff, the big mats, they're kind of keeping sprayed down. But which is one of my favorite things to do is I love flipping mats. But, they're kind of keeping them going down there. So let's see here. 2 Pro Move. Pro Move. Okay. So let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and get Brad going in here, give him a link at least here. Get him on that. Let's see here. All right. Send that over. Get him going. We'll get him in here. Hopefully you guys have some good questions for him. So Let's see. What's up, Aaron? Kincaid gives up some nice fish sometimes. Aaron, man, I tell you, it's that lake. It can be really tough, but I'm telling you, now that you've got that new boat, you can really go over there and start learning your graphing and stuff like that. There is a lot of offshore stuff that you have not fished over there that you'll really, once you get into that new depth finder and figure it out and start finding some of that offshore stuff, and you got everybody else up there beating the bank, you can go out there with a 10XD or going out there with a Texas rig or a Carolina rig, something like that. And you'll start picking up some of them better ones, I'm telling you. Like I said, one of my favorite things to do over there is, obviously punching mats, which I love to do. But, some of the best ones, are out deep, I can tell you. Out in a lot of rock cover, stuff like that. So what's the best lake around you to throw a frog? Bill, definitely, I would say Kincaid. Cedar's another really, really good one. I don't get to Cedar very often because I've got a bigger boat. I don't have a small boat. So Gabe's going to have to take me over there eventually. And
Cedar's better.
Yeah, he's here. But so he said Cedar's better for the frog. So and I definitely agree with that. It's got a lot more grass in it, stuff like that. So, but what's up, South Georgia? Nice to see you join us. Why can't you fish the docks of Egypt? Bill, that's actually, it's a lake rule. It's a private lake for one, which I didn't even tell you earlier. When you go over there, there's two different places that we go. One is called Pyramid, and the other one is Max Marina. Max Marina, I think, is $10 to park there a day, and Pyramid is still $5 a day. So Pyramid usually has most of the tournaments taken off out of there. So if you can get in there for $5, it's a little easier. But if not, you can go around the other side and get into Max Marina. And you can fish there. But like I said, it's a private lake, and lake rule says you cannot fish within 10 feet of a dock over there. And I'm telling you, they really, really cover that. I mean, they do not let anybody go over there and start throwing at docks. They'll get a hold of you quick. So there's heard the dogs barking. Yeah, that's right, man. They wait for him every week.
You got headphones?
No, mine are over there. Yours, those are yours, aren't they?
Okay, yeah.
We tried it earlier and it didn't echo or nothing.
Without headphones?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know.
We'll try it.
So he's finally here to join us.
What's up, folks?
We're waiting,
I heard you talking about the docks on Egypt.
Yeah.
I've gotten chewed out a couple times too. Years ago. I mean, people think you're throwing at them. Sometimes you're throwing, not. Like I had a guy. I did a video. I had a guy jump all over me on a Egypt video that I did a couple years ago, and he accused me of fishing docks. And I said, I was just throwing next to the dock. If I was fishing docks, you'd see my little jig skip way up underneath there and disappear. That's how you skip docks. I mean, I'm not. If I'm fishing out, away from them, I don't consider that fishing docks. But some people do. I mean,
Moxon on there said, "Why do they care?" Moxon, I can tell you exactly what it is. And to be honest with you, if I spent the money that some of these people do on their docks and stuff, and they're made for, they're made their summer houses and everything else for fishing there and everything. And I will tell you, if you go around docks like at Kentucky Lake, Lake of the Ozarks, and just get up close to them, you'll see spinner baits, crankbaits, jigs, everything under the sun hung up on them docks all the time. And if you got kids climbing up and down ladders on docks and stuff like that, and you catch, crank a 5XD in a thigh, I mean, it's not going to be pretty. So, right. I mean, I can see their point, but I mean, it sucks, being an angler, but I do see their point. So, especially all the electric lines running under there.
Well, and the boat tarps. If you got a tarp, a crankbait hook in the boat tarp, just
yeah, that's another solid point.
Yeah, Lake of the Ozarks is like a free for all. I mean,
it's in some of the boats down there. I don't even want to get close to.
Right. I've seen some lakes where they'll put rope and stuff around the docks to keep you from
throwing in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because you won't get your hook out of the ropes.
No, you got to cut it. It's
David, it's nice having you, man. Good to see you in here. And I guess you've seen on my video last night I dropped. It was supposed to be at 6:00, but I guess with the time change it messed it up and put it at 7. But actually got out on the water a little bit. Well, pond water, not my pond, but somebody else's. But I have another one coming Wednesday morning. You guys are really gonna like.
What's up, Ethan? What's up, Bill?
Matt in the house.
So you were fishing a pond I'd never seen you fish. I watched that you were fishing the dock a lot there at the beginning.
Yeah, it's a little. I mean, that thing's so old. I wasn't going out on it.
Yeah.
Every nail in that thing was popped out about that far on every single board. So, yeah.
Yeah, DJ, the mail ran late tonight. Well, what happened was I was going to be off about 5, which would have got me up here plenty of time. And my truck just died. And so I pulled up to deliver a parcel, and I'm on a busy street. It's a 2-lane street that doesn't have a sidewalk or anything. And I pull in this person's driveway, and I'm sitting across their driveway, and I'm just jump out and run up there to deliver a parcel. Get back, my truck, the battery was trashed. So not only am I on a busy street, and cars have to actually, wait to go around me because it's a really tight street, but I'm blocking somebody's driveway, and they weren't home from work, but they have kids. I know one of them's in college. This was about like 2:30 in the afternoon. And then the other, a couple of the kids are probably high school age. So long story short, I didn't need to be blocking that driveway because I knew they were going to come home. So I called our VOMA guy. He's the guy that works on our vehicles or whatever. And he's got to go pick up another vehicle that broke down, drag it to the auto shop. And then he's going to come out and bring me, go back to the plant, hook up another mail truck, bring it out to me and swap me out. So long story short, I was there 45 minutes, and I ended up actually pushing my mail truck. There was a little bit of an incline or decline. And so I'm pushing my mail truck as fast as I could. And I just coasted down into a grocery store parking lot and waited for him. And yeah, it was frustrating. I went through all my Facebook stuff. I went through all my Instagram stuff, watched a few YouTube videos, and but yeah, that's kind of the lowdown on that. We had a rainy day too. It rained this morning, and it kind of somewhat didn't clear up, but it quit raining. And then the last couple hours, it started raining again. It's pretty nasty.
It wasn't a downpour or nothing, but it was just a nice little steady, windy rain.
Yeah.
We had a lot of wind up here. Holy cow. Bill said, had a nice conversation on your last one, the boat.
Oh, yeah. Conversion on my boat. Yeah, thanks, Bill. Yeah, I'm working on the carpet. Man, I'm burnt out on it, but I gotta go. I gotta suck it up and get it done. I put some carpet padding. I bought some 3/8 inch padding from ProTech, and so I got the padding mounted, installed on the front deck, and now I've got to do the carpeting. And it's there's a lot of cuts, a lot of angles and stuff. And so anyway, I think I'm gonna work on that tomorrow. I was gonna go fishing, but I'm not sure. I probably won't know until I wake up in the morning what I'm going to do.
Yeah. You like this one?
Hey, whatever it takes for OT. Yeah, that's right, DJ. Yeah, that's kind of a funny thing. People say anything for overtime at the post office. People drop mail or they get a flat tire. Anything for overtime.
I've been on salary for too long. If I can get out, I'm getting out.
Yeah. Mondays are Mondays are a mad dash, and any little thing that goes wrong just intensifies that.
And this particular Monday always drags on because you lose that hour over the weekend.
Oh God, yeah. I didn't want to get out of bed this morning, man. It was cloudy, and
we were all at work like, God, the day won't end. It was terrible.
It's nice right now. I actually remembered you have a pond in your backyard.
I'm like,
first time you got a pond back there. Yeah, I haven't seen it in months, so that's all good.
Yeah, so Brad should be jumping on here any second. He was just texting me, so make sure everything's working for him. Like I said, save your ice fishing questions. I definitely want to get into it with him on that. So
I heard.
Let me send this again here.
I heard Ron mention the spinnerbait earlier on the way up.
He may have mentioned that.
You know what happened? We probably need to do a moment of silence because Big Sally is no longer a member of my arsenal.
You lost it.
She broke. She broke. I was casting and I hit a little limb with that spinnerbait, and it just split. The blade and the arm went in one side, and the skirt kind of hung up on the tree, and I just pulled it out. So you could have now you still have it, right? I've got half of it. Yeah, I've got the better half. I'm going to buy a shadow box, I think, and frame it and put it up on the wall. I mean, yeah, you probably ought to put it right up here so everybody can see it. I might do that. That's not a bad idea, actually. It's not a bad idea. You can at least stare at it. You won't know what was on the other end of it, but all right. Brad just got the email, so we can go in here with him. So it's not lagging or anything, is it? And the only reason I'm asking is because of the comments are coming through, but they were like
coming through about 4 or 5 at a time for a little bit there. I don't know what was going on. Ron says my hat is over my heart.
Man, it was tough. It just happened so quick. And it's funny, Ron says that because he says he puts a new A-rig on and a new spinnerbait on before every tournament. Just for that reason, I guess it's happened to him. And I'm very, very lucky that I didn't hook up with a big fish because it would have been a heartbreaker.
Yeah. I want to explain this here. So Denny and I were talking today about not expensive rain gear.
Okay.
And I told him I bought those frog togs. I've stayed away from because they're cheap, they're junk or whatever. But I bought a pair at Dick's last year, and I'm actually really happy with them. They're not the glued together ones. They're actually sewn. They're a little bit thicker material. They're lightweight. I would say they're more of a medium heavy. Medium, you got the ones like Walmart sells and stuff like that. Those are like ultra light. So I mean, there's nothing to them. If you bend over wrong, you're ripping them in two. It's no question about it. But the ones I bought at Dick's, like I think I spent like $60 for them or something like that, and I'm pretty dang happy with them. I wouldn't go bragging on frog togs because of all their lower end stuff, and I've had issues with all of it. These so far have been great. I have no complaints on them. The only thing, like I said earlier, the problem I run into is running down or across the lake. I'll get rain a lot hitting through the hood, and then up underneath the actual jacket part. So that's my only complaint there. If I had a way to, bibs are the way to go. They really are. So, just kind of have to take it with what you want. If you want to spend the money, there's plenty of other ones out there, but you're going to spend about probably $300 to $500. So,
looks like we got Brad coming in here.
Looks like he was drinking some Kool-Aid there.
Whew. Man. It's good stuff.
That's right. What's going on, Brad? How are you?
Nothing much. We're just kind of getting to the tail end of our ice season down here, and kind of glad that it's over. We had a pretty long season this year.
That's good. So getting into the ice fishing here, because we're all
we're Southerners down here.
Yeah, we don't get much of that. So just out of curiosity, okay, so what starts? I mean, I'm sure you guys have to wait for a certain time or a certain ice thickness before you can go out there. How's that ice season actually start before you go out there?
So ice season usually starts late November, early December. And we start getting out, me and the guys that work for me, right around that 4 to 6 inch mark. And kind of how we start is there's a couple of resorts I work with, and they rely on me to get out there and relay back the ice conditions to them before they'll start allowing people to go out on the ice. So it's a tedious deal. It's you got to be safe. You drill holes every 5 to 10 feet when you go, or pick through them. And once you establish your safe routes, then you can start guiding for the winter season. And that's kind of how we go about it to start it. But usually the season starts at least on Mille Lacs about the first week to about, early ice is that December 1st to December 15th.
Okay.
A little later than I thought it would be. I was actually thinking like November, but I guess it doesn't really set in until about December. So,
yep.
Have you noticed? I got a question. I was thinking about this a couple of days ago. Have you noticed the ice? I don't know what you call it, but when the lakes get ice on it, have you noticed a change in the month that happens or the week? Does it seem like it's becoming later to get ice on and then maybe staying on later? Have you noticed anything like that? I'm just curious.
No. The global warming.
Yeah, climate change.
Yeah, climate change. I'm not really seeing that in my line of work. I've been doing it almost. I think this is my 16th season, and some years we get late ice, some years we get early ice. Overall, do I think has the early ice changed a little bit in the last 15 years? Yeah, but I'm talking a couple of days. And then when you think that, when you talk about climate change, then we get a year where we're out the first week in December and the ice is 4 feet thick, and it kind of blows that scenario right out of the water. So I guess, what we are seeing is a lot of the lakes, smaller lakes, they're seeing, bass take over and kind of push walleyes out. Mille Lacs is a good example of that, where, the smallmouth weren't in Mille Lacs up until like the mid 90s. And they got in there. I think they got in there from the Rum River, and the population absolutely exploded. And a lot of people say, well, then now there's bass in Mille Lacs, and that's due to climate change. And that's completely false. The bass got in there because they simply came up the Rum River and had this big wide open lake that was full of rocks and crayfish, and their population absolutely exploded.
Very interesting.
So do you think it's going to stay a good population, or do you think eventually they'll overrun it?
I think they're probably at maximum capacity right now. I think the population of bass peaked probably around the mid 2010, somewhere in there. And now they've just leveled off. They found a real, basically, population density that fits them. The fish still grow really, really big. There's enough food for everyone. And I think we're kind of falling into the Mille Lacs happy place for bass.
Well, that's good. Yeah, because you guys, I guess the farther north you go, the more they consider a bass a trash fish.
Up on Mille Lacs, they don't. That's, some guys do. I love guiding for bass, and we don't guide for bass in the winter, but just in the summer. But I absolutely love it, man. It's one of the funnest things to do. But in the winter for guiding, I've had to get a few calls for guys who are like, hey, I want to fish smallmouth through the ice. I just won't do it, because in the winter, the fish are held up in really key locations, and you can really do damage to that species of fish if you sit and basically whack on them all day. They're eager to eat, and actually on Mille Lacs, it's illegal to target them in the winter, which I completely agree with. But there's a lot of guys that are like, hey, can we go to some smaller lakes around the area, and they want to target them, and I'm like, no, just leave them be till summer.
That's kind of cool. I would have never even thought that. Yeah.
So you said other lakes in the area. Do you strictly guide on Mille Lacs, or do you hit some of the other bodies of water?
If it's a really, really windy day, I'm talking 30, 40 mile an hour winds, I'll give guys the option to go to smaller lakes in the area that do have smallmouth in them. There's 2 or 3 lakes around that do have smallmouth, and we actually have a couple lakes that have really good populations of largemouth as well.
Really? So now what's a decent sized largemouth up there?
You're getting right at 5 pounds is good. I mean, our largemouth just don't get to that really, really big category. I'd say 3.5 to 4 pounds is pretty common. Pushing 5, 6 is going to be a trophy. I think our state record is only 8 pounds.
Yeah.
So
it's a haul there. So are they're probably a little bit more aggressive up there, I'm sure. Largemouth are.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah. They largemouth and smallmouth, because the season is so short, right when the ice comes off and before and after the spawn, they're just basically they're on the chew all year long, and they get that. You do fall into that dog days of summer stuff, but then when I talk to my clients that come from you guys' area, they're like, "Oh, you call this the dog days of summer?" They're like, "This is great up here. This isn't the dog days."
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting to get those optics on it.
Yeah, Ron's told me multiple times that everybody talks about Fork and all these other destination lakes, but he says that Mille Lacs is possibly one of the best bass fisheries in the country. So that says something right there.
I've fished a lot of the other smallmouth destinations, and I have to say, outside of the Great Lakes region, it's the best. And then when you got to calculate things like, are you talking numbers and size? We have the best balance of numbers and size that I've seen. I mean, that picture behind you guys, that's not even a big one.
That's a pig.
That's a grouper, right? I thought that was
right. That's a good fish. I mean, that's a 6. I believe that's 6'2". I mean, the thing looks like it ate a turtle, for crying out loud.
No doubt, man.
But that's only a 6'2", and we get them all the way up to 6.5. Biggest one that's ever been in my boat was 7'2". So that. I just can't. When guys say, "Oh, the Great Lakes have better smallmouth fish," and I'm like, "No, you know what? Yeah, they got big bass up there, but when you can come out to Mille Lacs and catch 25 to 45 fish a day, and they're not all 6 pounders. They're not, 7 pounders is a real rare thing up here. but it does happen. You know, like we get 2 or 3 every year that are busting that 7-pound mark. We get about anywhere from 40 to 80 a year that are busting that 6-pound mark. And man, but then the rest of your day is filled with 1 to 4 pounders, which is absolutely just a riot for anyone.
Yeah, especially fishing smallmouth as aggressive as they are.
Exactly.
And you're fishing a lot of light tackle too, correct?
Yeah, we do. We do fish a lot of light tackle. You know, we're 6, 8-pound fluorocarbon. We do every once in a while. We do bust out the bait casters. Certain times a year, you know, you can throw an A-rig around here and it'll work. And I find a lot of guys, though, you know, from down south, when they get in my boat and they're like, they look around and they're like, this is all spin casting here. I'm like, yeah. And they don't know how to do it, man. They're just not fluent with it. You know, they're so used to
the fairy ones.
Yeah, he'd be in heaven. I'd be the guy looking around.
Yeah, I love finesse fishing, man. I just enjoy it. I like it when it bows up, and even if it's a 2-pounder, it can pull drag if you got everything set right. It's a good time.
Exactly. And that's where, you know, we're using medium light. You know, we do use braid. Like I use 10-pound braid. But guys are astonished, you know, like when we throw a hair jig or something, you know, 16th ounce hair jig, and I got them on 6-pound test line and a 750 size reel, and they're like, "What? You like?" They don't believe you. You'll hand that to a guy, and he'll be like, "Flick that little jig over there," and he's like, "They think you're kidding. They think you're filling them full of stuff." They're like, "This is what we use for crappie where I'm from," and I'm like, "Yeah, we put 5-pound bass on that here, you know, on a slow dig,
nuts."
Tucking around a hair jig, and once they get one on it, they're all about it. They just don't believe that little teeny jig, like 2.5 inches long, 2 inches long, actually catches 5-pound fish.
Yeah, heck yeah,
that's pretty nuts. Yeah,
I haven't actually experienced that, but I see those things, for sale. The little smallmouth hair jigs, and I've watched some Seth Fighter videos where he's fishing that. So obviously, it's something you got to have when you're up there. I enjoy that a lot, actually. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. So, like, when you're getting, what species are you actually targeting during the winter, like the ice?
We are on Mille Lacs. It's all walleye, 100% every day. We're targeting walleye, and the walleye fishery. We've got fish from 10 inches all the way up to 28, 29, 30 inches, and that's just kind of, and that's more the guys that hire me in the winter usually aren't from down south, from the 5-state area. And the guys come, they want to fish Mille Lacs, or they're, corporate guys, or even my previous customer list, like repeat customer, they're about half my business. But we go out on the ice, and once the ice is safe, we have otter portables, and we drill holes, put them in there. If it's cold, if it's a nice day, it's only 20, 30 degrees, let's say 15 to 25, 30 degrees, and not a lot of wind, we're standing on the ice. Me and the guy that works for me, my helper, he's drilling holes. We'll drill 150, 250, 350 holes in a day and just keep our customers moving on the break or around the mud flat, and basically jigging spoons, jigging wraps. Sometimes we put set lines out if it's slow. But my object for walleyes, like covering walleyes in the winter, you want to remain mobile, because the walleyes typically don't sit in one area. They're always moving. They're always searching for food. And if you can open up these areas to where guys can actually move around and follow the fish, that's what we try to do in the winter. And then, but that's light gear too. I mean, we're using 4 to 6-pound line, 30 to 36-inch ice rods with 500 to 750 size reels. So you can imagine, you get a 4-pound walleye on, it gives you a pretty good fight.
Mm-hmm. So, what's your strategy on where you drill these holes? Have you went out on ice out and marked offshore structure with say put waypoints on them, and then you have like a mobile where you put waypoints on the ice? Is that how you do that? Or
well, we've got Lake Master came out here. They released a version 8 V8 chip out here that basically left the whole lake. There's no more secrets anymore. Everything is on that chip. And before that, the version 7 was just as good. I mean, they didn't miss much on that one either. So basically, you're looking at the map, and we fish, deep, just say 26 to 34 feet for walleyes in the winter, and we're fishing boulder to gravel transitions. We're fishing rock to mud transitions, sand to mud transitions. And then we also have a whole area of the lake, the whole north end of the lake they call it mud flats. And these aren't anywhere, the whole basin surrounding these mud flats is anywhere from 32 to 38 feet deep. Then these mud flats come up and some of them top out at 21 feet. So you can imagine they're just some of them are 3 miles long out here. Can you imagine that? Like, some of these mud flats are actually so big that they're the size of some of the lakes. Like, you take 8 mile mud flat on Mille Lacs, and the thing, I believe it's almost 1.75 miles long. And if you draw all the way around that mud flat, I guarantee you it's like 4 miles long if you trace the edge of that contour all the way around that flat.
Wow.
Awfully big.
Big lake, man.
So you're looking for, are you just fishing the actual seam where the mud goes to rock? Are you looking for individual rock piles or boulders on that mud flat? What are you keying on in that?
What we're keying on is usually I start any indifference in the mud flat, any point on the mud flat, north tip, south tip, and you really got to fish it, because sometimes the walleyes will be up on top of the mud flats, sometimes they'll be on the bottom edge. So the mud flats usually change. Like, here's the top of it, right? And in 10 feet, you're usually down to 30 to the basin, 34, 35 feet of water. So that's usually, you somewhere between the bottom of the mud flat, on the edge of the mud flat, or you're up on top of the mud flat is kind of what you target.
Essentially, or a drop, essentially.
Exactly. But one day you'll go out there and they'll all be on the bottom, and you'll drill holes, and there'll be nothing there. You won't catch very many. Then I'll send a guy up on top, and bam, 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 and they're up there. And if they're on, usually the rule of thumb, if they're on top of the mud flat, you're gonna have one heck of a day of walleye fishing, because they're only up there for one reason.
Yeah, feed. Yep, that's right. That's the same way. We fish Kentucky Lake a lot, and it's notorious for its ledge fishing. And you'll find the same thing going on there. If they're pulling some current, those fish will slide up on the top of those ledges. And when you're graphing with your side scan and you see that going on, you know you're going to have a good day. But if they're out suspended off the sides of those ledges, you're going to have to really work to get them to bite. So it's always good to see those fish up there feeding.
Exactly. Yeah, it's it. The ice game up here, man. It's a pretty fun gig. You get to meet people from all walks of life. You wouldn't believe some of the rigs that get towed out on the ice here. I mean, there's anything over 16 inches of ice. I'm driving my Duramax out there with a 8.5 foot plow on it, knocking in roads. I mean, I had a guy from Florida come up this winter, and we get out on the lake. We're about a mile out, and he's flashing his lights at me, and I stop and I get out of the truck, and I'm like, what's up? And he's like, when are we going to get on the lake? I'm like, brother, you're on the lake. You've been on the lake for a mile. Like, he did. I mean, because it just looks like a normal road, Yeah. And it was pretty funny. He kind of looked at me like I was pulling his chain, and I'm like, no, man, we just got another mile to go, and you'll be at your portable. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Did he try to tie a rope onto a tree on the bank and feed it out?
No, he was just like, I don't know if he thought I was leading him down. I don't know what he thought. Like, we were going down a road that just went to the lake, or we were in some big open field. I don't know what the heck he thought, but it was a pretty funny deal.
No trees around him, nothing else, just nice flat ground.
Yeah.
Well, just flat, but I think he thought the fish houses that were on the lake, because some of the fish houses are, 16 by 24 feet long. So I think he thought that, I don't know what he thought, man. He didn't think he was on a lake. I know that.
Yeah. I saw that. I saw a video. I don't know who posted it, but it was some kind of perch festival, a perch competition tournament or something. It's like a big deal up there where they had,
Yep.
It looked like Walmart parking lot out there. I was like, wow, that's a lake. And it can support all of that weight. There's all the big fifth wheel trailers and just trucks everywhere. That's amazing.
Yeah, I work that one for Rapala every year, man, and they give away like probably $150,000 in prizes at that thing. They have food on the ice. It's a really cool deal to kind of mark the end of the game fish season out there. And it's just pretty neat to see all that many people in one place on the lake, and that's just one event, man. They have like 4 or 5 of those out here all winter long.
Wow.
Dang.
Wow. I think it's awesome that you guys go all year long. Like around here, it kind of, when it starts getting cold, people kind of slow down. We have a few power plant lakes. Ron lives on one of them actually, and that still gets pressure in the winter, but things really slow down. Is where you guys just wait for it to get hard and you just drill holes and keep on going. I think that's pretty cool, man. That's a neat culture up there.
It's if you want to be a guide in Minnesota, like a real guide, and you want to do this year round, you have to be an ice fisherman. You have to do that. And that's where we get a lot of guys. Like I talked to him, he's like, I ain't doing that, man. Like Ron don't want to do that. I don't blame him. I just don't know any different. You know what I mean? Like that's what I grew up doing. And I'm like, hey, I want to be a guide for a living. So better get good with water.
You got to roll. You got to roll with the changes, man. Whatever Mother Nature presents, you got to make it work for you.
You do. And like a lot of my customers, like, I can't believe you work that hard in the winter. And I'm like, yeah, man, it's a lot of work. But I look at summer as, I mean, that's easy fishing for me. I mean, we get the boats. We're going to be getting out both boats here in a couple of weeks. We're going to get them cleaned up, and man, if all you got to do is drive to the lake, hook up, and know where the fish are, and put your customers on fish, you don't got to drill holes. You don't got to haul houses around. You don't got to mess with heaters. You don't got to mess with, you don't. There's just a lot less that goes into the summertime stuff.
Wow, it's a lot of stuff.
So how bad are you itching to actually make a cast?
Me?
Yeah.
I think we'll get I'm itching pretty good. I mean, towards the end of the season, I'm not gonna lie, man. This was a long winter. It was a really long winter.
Yeah.
So like right now, I'm kind of watching the Rainy River. That's opening up a little bit. They'll probably bring some equipment, bulldozers and track hose and stuff, and clear the ice off the accesses. And once they do that, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna be up there the next day. So I'm itching for it. I'm itching. But the funny thing is, open water up here, the river just literally blew all the ice out of it. And there's still going to be snow and ice on the shoreline, and we're going to be up there throwing paddle tails and stuff, jigging for walleye. I mean, even though it's open water, it's not like we're going to be out in t-shirts. We're still going to be wearing winter boots and our winter coats and everything, standing in the boat. Yeah, well,
I would want to, instead of dropping vertical, I'd want to make like a horizontal cast. That first couple of horizontal casts just has to be. It's like doing a stretch in the morning or something. Yeah. It just sounds like you get tired of dropping vertical on them, I bet.
Yeah, it is. I mean, to give you an idea, we've lost a lot of snow here, but in my front yard right now, I still have about 13 to 15 inches of snow.
Wow.
You can keep it.
So it just kind of stays like that, right? I mean, for the snow just kind of stays there, or does it meld? And I mean, okay, I guess what I'm asking is, does it stay consistently cold throughout, most of the winter? Or do you have some 50, 60 degree days and it melts a little bit?
No, our winter temps for about 3 months, if you get a day that's over 25 degrees, you're loving it. I mean, dude, it gets 45, 50 below up here some days, man.
You got any mailmen up there? I mean, I hope they get paid.
Yeah, we did. Dude, I was wondering the same thing. I asked my mail lady this year, I'm like, how come you should have a glove that's like the size of your arm? You drive around all day, 40 below, opening the mailboxes, and they just keep their heater cranked, man. They shut off that's what she tells me. They keep their heater cranked. They keep all the vents closed except for the ones that are facing them. She says it ain't bad. I don't believe her. I wouldn't do it, but
yeah. I guess you get used to it. We got these uniform catalogs that we can order stuff out of, and there's the stuff that we order down here, and there's like that extra grade stuff that's a little more beefy, and that goes up there to you guys.
There's a quick question for you there.
What's the typical line test for ice fishing? Well, that's like not a one-dimensional answer. So for panfish, crappie, bluegill, perch, we're using like 1 to 3 pound test. I like to use fluorocarbon. I'm a big fluorocarbon fan in the winter, just because the fish move a little slower. It sinks. You can't see it. It's invisible. So for panfish, to put it in a nutshell, for panfish, we're 1 to 3 pound fluorocarbon. And then for walleyes, we're anywhere from 5 to 6 for your jigging rods. But for your set lines, we'll go like 6 to 8 for your set lines, tip ups, and rattle reels and things like that.
So why such light line? Why 1 to 3 pound test for your perch and stuff?
I think 4 pound is like 3 pound is like pretty sufficient for perch, man. Like
Okay.
you got to remember, because you're always in a vertical presentation. You know what I mean? So it's not like we're not casting through rocks or timber, but that line, like even big bluegill fishing, 2 pound test is usually sufficient. And the reason why you want it light is because our lures are so small, man. Like in the winter, a big spoon to be using for walleye is a 3/8 ounce spoon, and we're typically using 1/8 to 1/4 ounce spoons. So if you're using heavy line, it really kills the action of the spoon. Same with panfish. You're jigging a little 5 millimeter tungsten jig. If you got anything more than 3 pound on there, you're really gonna kill the action of it.
5 millimeter.
Okay, that makes total sense.
It's pretty tiny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. 2 pound. I fish in 2 pound tests for trout. I do a lot of fly fishing, and typically it's like 3.7 is 6x leader. That's usually about as light as I go. But man, like you said, if you don't have anything that's rubbing against, if it's open water, you usually don't have a problem with that lighter line. If you got the right rod that absorbs the load and
A
stuff,
good drag system.
and a good drag system, of course.
Yeah, it's really key. You want to be using, like we try to use all high-end $100 Shimano stuff in the winter. Like I take all my CIs and put them on most of them just to have that good drag. And you got to remember fluorocarbon too is pretty abrasion resistant. So that,
Right.
The only contact we really worry about as far as abrasion is the ice hole itself. If a fish starts going sideways and you start getting that abrasion on there. And we change line in our ice rigs. I'd say the guide stuff we change 2 to 4 times a year just to keep it fresh. Peel 20 feet off, cut it up, and then you got fresh 20 feet behind it. But I'm not kidding you, man. I mean, some of the old timers, 50, 60, 70-year-old guys, they're still using 20 pound test. But I'll tell you what, if you're using 20 pound test, you ain't catching fish, man. You're just not catching fish.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. That, like you said earlier, that light line really lets that jig work for you, or that lure, or whatever it is. I fish a lot of 8 pound test fluorocarbon, and even just going from 8 pound to 10 pound, there's a big difference in the way that your lure works.
Huge difference. Difference. We do a lot of Ned stuff out here, and you notice that that the guys will come up. A lot of times with trips, I can't get a guy in until his 3rd day he's up here. So he's been pounding the bank and he's been trying different stuff. And he's like, man, we just didn't catch any fish. And I look at a lot of these guys are coming up and they got, 14 to 20 pound fluorocarbon. I'm like, holy man. like I don't even know how you throw a Ned rig on something like that. I mean, you'd be waiting.
These fish, man, they're seeing these fish. They're like, I need like 25 pound braid.
Right. And like, it's, I get it, but like, man, that fish there, I was caught on 6 pound fluorocarbon.
That's awesome.
I mean, you better be prepared for it. I mean, you got to know how to fight these fish. But if you're using anything more than 8 pound test out here, you're not getting bit. I mean, you're going to get bit. You're going to catch fish, but I guarantee you, I come around you with my 5 and 6 pound fluorocarbon, and we'll put on a show. Our lures get down faster. Lures have better action, just like in the winter, man. The stuff does its job quicker, better, and more efficient with a lighter line.
Okay. Do you ever get on a topwater bite out there, like a spooks or anything like that?
May.
Oh, yeah. Yep. We have multiple bug hatches throughout the year out here. We've got guys call them lake flies. We have midges. We have mayflies. We have 5 to 6 different hatches, and usually around those hatches, the topwater bite is usually pretty good in the mornings and the evenings. It's very rarely you get an all-day topwater bite, but it does happen. Like last year, we had 3 full days of topwater, and it was just an absolute riot. But the one thing you got to remember with the topwater bite, like it usually coincides with the bug hatch, and those smallmouth. People don't realize how small of things those fish eat, man. I mean, they're in the bluegill family. And that's what I always tell people. Like smallmouth is like half bass, half bluegill. So when those bugs start popping all around, those fish gorge themselves on those mayflies, just gorge themselves on them. So that's why, you'll see them just popping the surface and popping the surface. And guys will start throwing spooks and whopper ploppers and things like that, chugs. They'll start throwing all that stuff. And man, sometimes the topwater bait, your best one is just going to be a teeny. Where's my hand on that screen? There it is.
There it is.
It would be like 1.5 to 2 inches long, like small, man. Because you're not trying to imitate. Most topwater baits are meant to imitate a wounded minnow or a whatever.
Right.
Up here, you're trying to imitate a bug. Not to say that big topwaters don't work out here, because they do. Right away when that topwater bite starts, you can catch them on 4 to 6 inch stuff, not a problem. But throughout the year, after the second, third bug hatch, you're gonna want to downsize that topwater significantly.
So a fly fisherman could really have a heyday out there.
They do. So we have a few guys that come out, and they're just fly guys. Every year they come up, man, and I just drive the boat and I put them on fish. And we had one day last year. They're purists. That's all they want to do is throw the fly, right? I put on a swim bait and I chucked it out. Second cast, I had a 4-pounder on. I'm like, guys, they're not on the fly. They're not on the fly. They don't always want the fly. You know what I mean? They wouldn't switch, man. They wouldn't switch.
No, man, that's a real fly fisherman. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, they're purists. But I'll tell you what, I've also seen those guys make everyone else look like a clown. Mm-hmm. Like you come into a spot that's highly pressured, and those guys start rolling those flies out there, and the fish just inhale them.
Yeah.
If I have fly guys in my boat and I'm going to an area where I know there's good fishing, and there's a couple other boats around, and everyone's respectful, we keep a good distance away, people will leave that spot if I roll in with fly guys, because they don't have the equipment and they don't want to sit there and watch us sit and whack on fish. I mean, it's crazy.
I can see like a size 12, 14 elk hair caddis fly. I can just see them smallmouth just sucking that thing down. That's if I ever make it up there and it's the right time of year, I'm definitely going to pack a fly rod, because that sounds like a lot of fun.
It is. A lot of my guys too, after the trip, what they'll do at the resorts, they'll go offshore and just flick that fly out, in the harbor entrances and stuff. And they usually catch a pretty fair number of bass, just even from shore, and I find that just absolutely interesting, that in the evenings, these smallmouth are coming up into 1 to 2 feet of water.
Huh. That's awesome.
Be right up your alley.
Yeah.
I'd be the guy behind him with the 17-pound floor and a swim bait. But
I love it, man. That's funny. They fish for smallmouth around here up shallow at night with like big spinner baits and stuff, like a size 6 Colorado blade on a dark short arm spinner bait. So those smallmouth will move up shallow around here too.
All right, guys. Well, Brad, we appreciate you coming on. And guys, if you have any questions at all, I've got everything linked down in the description. I got his Facebook page, Instagram page, his website, and the phone number is down there too. So you guys want to hit him up, go on a good trip. I'd say him or Ron's going to be a good bet to go with. So definitely have to hit them guys up.
Ethan's got one more question here. If you got just a second, can you flip that up there? This will give you a question to answer here real quick.
Is he talking smallmouth in the summer, or is he talking in the winter?
I'm going with smallmouth in the summer.
All right. What kind of colors? So I like both. Like, the simple way to answer that, I mean, these bass, man, like early season, we'll be chucking around.
He was about to give away a secret color.
I was, but I just can't. We'll be chucking around some pretty big stuff around here, but you wouldn't believe some of the colors we use. Like, there's some days you cannot catch fish on a natural colored bait, the most natural thing in the world, right? Then you start hucking around a size 12 husky jerk in clown, and it starts getting smashed. And so I would say, if you're going to come up here and if you're going to buy baits, okay, have a good array of both. And I'm not just saying that to say it, it's the truth, because you'll know pretty quick, because you'll have fish follow your baits. and it'll be the most natural thing on earth. They don't want it. And then all of a sudden you go to a straight up chartreuse jig and a 5-inch, 6-inch Kitech, and they'll whack it. It'll be some oddball color. White. White is a good color up here too, But I consider white up here kind of a natural color, to be honest with you, because there's Cisco in the system. So as far as really bright colors, purples, pinks, chartreuses, and oranges, all those I consider my hot colors. And your natural colors are going to be your browns, your blacks, and I kind of throw that really dark pink into that natural color pile too. So if you're coming up, bright colors and natural colors, you're going to want to bring them all.
Well, we just added more to our list to save up for.
Yeah, big and small and every color. Just got to be prepared, I guess.
Yep.
Maybe we'll wait till Ron's gone one day. We'll go over and grab his tackle box.
Yeah, raid his house. He probably takes it all up there with him, though, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
It's super fun. I would Ron is just such an awesome dude. Like it's kind of fun because we have different. He's a true bass guy, right? Like, and I'm a multi-species guy. But what we find is I end up doing, we're pulling off a ton of trip seats here. My other boat, I have my father-in-law runs that one, and I'll have him running the walleye and panfish stuff, and I just stay on the smallmouth. I've been doing that for about 6-7 years now, and I absolutely love it. But I'll tell you what, I ain't letting no one creep around in my plastics box, though.
You got a big old padlock on it, I'm sure.
Yep.
Cool, man. It was awesome to meet you, dude. Hawthorne's Guide Service. If you guys are wanting to make a trip up north and have the time of your life, man, this is the guy to go visit.
Yep.
So maybe we're saving money right now. We're gonna try to get up there and spend some time with you and Ron. I don't know if it'll happen this year, but it's definitely on the bucket list. I'm really wanting some of that right there.
Yeah.
Well, you boys come up here. We'll take care of you. How's that?
That sounds good. Dude. It sounds good. So,
all right, guys, I'm gonna go get myself some dinner. You guys call me anytime. All right.
All right, Brad.
Thanks,
Take care,
man.
buddy.
See ya.
Yep. Bye.
All right.
That was awesome, man. That's the life. I mean, those guys work hard to put you on fish, but look at the reward.
We are in the wrong business.
We are in the wrong business. Well, there's a lot of sacrifice.
I'm changing my code to my garage.
Ron just said he's changing the code to his garage. Okay.
Did we say something wrong? Or?
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. But yeah, that was cool, man. That was good. That ice fishing thing we don't get to experience that. Have you ever been actually ice fishing?
No, yeah, I have.
A long time ago?
It's been probably 15 years ago. We had just a pond, and that's all we've ever been on. But I mean, no, it's just bluegill fishing. You get your little mealworm, put it on there, something small. And like he said, I was throwing probably 4-pound test, but I didn't really know what I was doing that much anyway.
Yeah, it's been. I was a kid, and we used to get some ice, and we'd had access to some quarry lakes down there, and we'd go and drill holes, and then that was like for crappie, whatever bites. Same thing you're talking about.
Yeah,
it's been too
long. Here's a good question for you.
It's probably for him, but do you have any luck on that? You know what? I bought one of those dark sleepers down at Table Rock, so I actually have one. It's still in the package. I haven't thrown it yet, though. It looks so dumb, though. It's like a.
See, I bet he was meaning it for Brad.
Yeah, he was.
See, guys. I'm not sure what's going on with the comments, but they're slowly rolling in for some reason. I don't know if it's this program or what. I would say it's my connection, but I've got a pretty dang fast connection, so I don't think that's it. But I could be wrong.
South GA Bass says cipher lock and fingerprint recognition. Yeah, that's
Greg, I hear you, man. I'm probably about the same size as you. I'm pushing about 220, so 225.
That's funny.
Yes, it was for Brad. Sorry, man. Sorry we didn't get that in earlier.
Yeah, you want that ice. They always say at least 3 inches, but I'm thinking 4 or so.
We had, it wasn't light, or maybe it was light. No, it was 2 years ago. We had pretty good ice here. We actually walked out on it. I know wife and the kids, they were walking all the way across the pond, but it was plenty thick enough here. I was actually I've got a picture of a turtle underneath the ice. You can see him. He's moving around and everything underneath the ice. It was about 4 inches thick. It was down in one of the corners. It was just super clear.
Really?
And you could just see him crawling, and I've got a little video of it. Yeah. That was I think it was 2 years ago we did that.
That's cool. That is really cool. Ron says the dark sleeper works. Yep, you would know.
Why? Well, you got me by a little bit there. So does Denny.
Pushing 3, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, you better wait for that about 5 inches of ice. Those guys drive, like Brad was saying, they drive 3/4 ton trucks out there,
That's
and they've
just
got
nuts.
32-foot trailers. And
Yeah, that's nuts.
it's
not to mention the cabins they're hauling.
yeah,
Got to be some weight.
Well, Ron sent me a picture of somebody's. I think it was Brad's trailer. I don't know, but they've got a hole in the floor. It's a panel basically, and you got a couch, you got a TV, you got a gas heater, gas furnace, or whatever, and you just remove this floor, and there's a hole drilled in the ice, and you can literally fish, off the couch if it's really cold, I guess.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Wade said he just got back from the Classic this morning. Wade, would you have a good time? It looked like it was packed down there. I mean, I've seen. I put it this way: I posted a picture on Instagram, which usually on Instagram I'll hit anywhere from 70 to 100 likes pretty quick, I would say. And today I was trying to go through there and like different posts and stuff like that, and there were so many posts of the Classic, the tournament, of being at the Classic show. I mean, it was everything. I couldn't even hardly get to like my regular people on there at all. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I got two of my buddies went down there this year. They went last year, and maybe this was their third time. I know it was their second time for sure. And they said it's a must do. It's just a blast.
I know I talked to Mox and Lures. He went down there. He didn't set up or nothing, but he went down there just to see how it was and everything. So I told him next year if he goes again, let me know. I'd definitely make a trip down there with him.
Hey, Ethan. Yeah, I got some footage from the Table Rock tournament, and I started working on it a couple nights ago, and I just kind of walked away from it. And I plan on it when I get home tonight, I'm going to start messing with it again. I don't have a lot of actual fishing footage because the guy that I fished with was like the Brian Thrift at Table Rock. I mean, he'd sit down for 5 minutes and then we would roll out, and we were zipping. We probably fished 50 spots that day. We were just zipping all over the lake, and he was kind of slightly, I don't want to say he was grumpy, but he's a guide and he's got many, many, many years under his belt, and that's how he makes his money. So he wasn't real excited about me exposing any of his spots. And I actually discussed it with him at the pre-tournament meeting. I said, hey, I got a YouTube channel, and I was gonna, if it's okay, I'd like to do some video in your boat. And he's like, well, I don't know, man. I fish a lot of spots that people don't know about, and I don't really want. I'm like, that's cool, dude. No problem. And then a little bit later, he's like, well, if you want to do some video, we can work it out. So he was willing to give me a little bit of give on that. But bottom line is, it didn't matter because he was moving around so fast. I didn't really have time. So a lot of that footage is going to be just of the pre-fishing footage of me and Mike. And then we went out the next day after the tournament and caught some decent fish. So I don't know, maybe this Wednesday, maybe a couple of days, I'll have the first part of that video out.
There you go.
It's kind of the plan.
Yeah. Wade said he got to meet Jimmy Houston, Hank, Clay Geyer. That's pretty cool, dude.
Awesome.
Said he highly recommends us going to that one. Yep. Definitely have to make a trip or something there. I'd really like to go. That'd be the one I'd want to go see at least. So.
Yeah, it's just.
I've seen Whitewell posted up on here. He got one in the bubble gum because guys don't use pink baits. I'll tell you what, in the spring, I'd say probably late spring, that bubblegum pink trick worm is on fire.
Really? You like that?
Oh, yeah.
Throw it? I need to throw that again.
And in creeks for smallmouth, unbelievable. You will get that thing. You will get it ripped in half multiple times.
I throw the old school bus around a little bit, that bright yellow one. I throw that around.
I like the bruised banana.
Yeah.
That's a good bait, especially for smallmouth and creeks.
And the orange, what's that called? Methylate, or they got a name for it? I can never pronounce it.
It's the bright methylate.
Methylate. There you go.
Yeah, that's their float. They have a floating worm in methylate that is absolutely killer on grass lakes.
Yeah. I need to dig it out. There was a time when I fished those a lot.
Methylate.
I
think I'm saying it right.
You had it first time.
Yeah. So.
Wade says, the big names were not there. They're doing the MLF thing. I heard Luke Duncan talking about that. Well, from what I can understand, his
Yeah, he
voice
pulling
was
out-
trash.
Yeah, he put out a podcast or a video. I didn't get to see it yet.
He
Which I'm usually pretty good about seeing it or watching on Mondays, but just kind of busy doing stuff. I didn't have time yet.
He had a lot of problems down there with his live stream. He actually lost his podcast, his Mac. Somebody spilled a drink on his Mac,
Oh,
and for some reason they didn't record it, so he lost
oh man,
that stuff.
that's terrible.
Yeah. Some things didn't go right.
Yeah, I know. He answered me back this morning, and
So he's coming on next Monday. Or?
yeah.
Good job, man. Someday.
Yeah, I'll still hammer at his door. Eventually we'll get something.
Yeah, you
out of
never
him.
know.
If not, I told him. I said if he just keeps his stuff up, I'm gonna have to do a YouTube versus YouTuber video. We're gonna have to meet up at like Kentucky Lake or something. I have to show him how to fish,
Yeah.
or he'll show me. Either way, we'll
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah. Well, we'll all learn something. What to do, what not to do, maybe.
Kevin said shh on the bubble gum.
Shoot the bubble gum.
Yep.
Chomp,
Telling you,
chomp.
man, it works. That's for sure. Anybody doing any catching? The pond bite is heating up. Colorado spinner bait was the deal today. Whitewell, I'm going to say you're 2 hours north. And I know a lot of people don't realize how much that affects, I guess, your daylight, and your temperature, everything. It really does. Because if you go down and I could talk to you and then talk to me, and I was talking to Oklahoma Worst Angler a while ago, that difference, it makes a huge, I would say about a week to 2 week difference. He was really hitting them hard and heavy the last 2 or 3 weeks. Now we're starting to hit it here a little bit, especially on the good sunny days. And now it sounds like you're getting into that spinnerbait bite like that. I was on it, what was it, 2 weeks ago? Probably 2 weeks ago, started doing that, started fishing it good. Wednesday's video, I can tell you don't want to miss. There's a really good one in there, but those fish they're still staying deep, but on them good sunny days, they're coming up pretty shallow. So
Yeah, they're up. We caught me and Ron fished a tournament yesterday at Cedar, and we caught quite a few fish up in 3 foot of water. Winding stuff.
Yeah, I was catching them on actual drop, a bluff wall drop, and I can tell you right when it hit about 6 to 8 foot of water, that's when they were hitting almost every time.
Mm-hmm.
But I did catch one at about 6 foot. That's a real good one. So
Yeah, Wade, Hank Cherry brought in a 29-pound sack. That was a good classic. I watched most of day 1 and day 2, and we were fishing yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to watch any of the footage. But I'm so glad Hank won it. That first day though is what won it for him. I mean, because second day his weight was a little bit lighter, and he's got he hurt his elbow too really bad. And
I haven't watched any of it yet. So
yeah, I can't remember what he did, if he fell or setting the hook or something. But about midway through, I think day 1, I could be wrong on the time frame of this, but his elbow was jacked and he was having problems
it's not good.
cranking, setting the hook, and that kind of stuff. But
That's
he
not
toughed
good
it
at
out.
all. Oof.
Yeah.
Especially being in that profession.
Yeah,
You
well,
don't
when
want an
you're
elbow injury.
no, when you're in position to win a tournament, though, you got to suck it up.
Yeah.
Or win the classic, you definitely got to suck it up.
Yeah, definitely.
He's a tough dude.
South Georgia Best has got to run. Holler at y'all later. Enjoy them on that live. All right, man. We'll see you later.
Get that mail delivered.
Yep. Keep pumping out them videos too.
Yeah, definitely.
So, all right, guys. Well, it looks like we had a pretty good run here tonight. So a little over an hour. So that's not too bad. Like I said, make sure you guys watch the Wednesday. I tried the different time of releasing the video at 6 o'clock in the evening, and it did not pan out so well. I will tell you that. So I'm going to go back to 6 a.m. of releasing the video. I know David on here, he said he really likes the videos in the morning too. And I have a feeling that's what a lot of you guys are into, is that early morning video. So I'll go back to releasing them. So Wednesday morning, 6 a.m., I'll release that one. Like I said, you guys don't want to miss this. I do get a PB in there. So it'll be a good one to watch. So Marlo says, I'm fishing in 48-degree water in the pond. I haven't checked the water temperature in the lake recently. We were hitting, well, you said you were hitting about upper 40s.
It was 48, 49. And,
Yeah.
but if you get in some of those north-facing pockets that are a little bit shallower, you're going to see 51, 52, something like that, especially with full sun.
Yeah, I was hitting 50. So,
Mm-hmm.
and that's on just a a small lake, really small lake. So, all right, guys. Well, we appreciate you joining in. Fishing Fat Man, I seen you join us. Nice seeing you, man. Sorry you missed the very tail end of it here, though.
You must be talking about me. He said somebody's handsome.
Handsome running
Yeah.
today. Said I could stop him and say hi.
I don't know. I didn't kind of brush my goatee out. Spoiler alert, PB. Oh, yep.
Yep, it's on there. So,
all right, guys. Yeah, we'll see you next Monday. I hope. Right.
Yep, definitely.
Okay.
So, see everybody next Monday.
Good luck out in the water.